Hello guys, and today we have to speak about Transnistria, which is an official legitimate part of Moldova bordering Ukraine. But Russia claims there exists a fake Republic of Transnistria that wants to be in future the part of Russia. And fake Transnistrian deputies have just addressed Kremlin for the opportunity to join the federation and escape the pressure from Moldova. Russia is known for the production of so-called fake republics like LNR, DNR, Transnistria, and two more in Georgia, and many more territories that cause only conflict and misery to its peoples. Of course, all of these republics are fake and they are never acknowledged by any legitimate democratic country. But Transnistria is also a reminder to all of us that you cannot freeze a conflict with Russia, because sooner or later it will grow into another phase of war. And what is most important, Russia uses this pause not to negotiate the peace, but to build up the strength and hit you harder. Believe me, I'm Ukrainian. My name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of the brutal Russian invasion. So if you're new to the channel, you support Ukraine, please subscribe and help us fight against Russian propaganda and fake news. And my longtime friends, check your subscription status and hit notification button. So let me start with the fresh news. The so-called deputies of the so-called Transnistria decided to address Kremlin, asking for protection against Moldova pressure and perhaps Euro integration around the region, and now once again they want to join Russian Federation. Of course, Transnistria is not a real republic. After the collapse of Soviet Union, the borders of Moldova were set, and then Russia decided to finance separatist movement in one of the bordering regions, actually heavily inhabited by Ukrainians and Moldovans, of course not Russians. And Transnistria actually borders two of Ukrainian regions, Vinnytsia and Odessa. That's why we are so attentive observing the things that are happening there right now. Moldova is also a small country. It has like 34,000 square kilometers, ranking 135 in the world, so it does not have that many military resources. But it has good people, it has the desire to join the European Union, and if you remember, Moldova was granted candidate status together with Ukraine. But of course, there are also lots of political parties that are financed from Russia, because Russia still keeps a dream of getting not just Transnistria, but all of Moldova. Moldova, once again, is not big. It did not have many resources to fight for Transnistria, and in the 90s, they decided to freeze this conflict, leading to nothing. Well, actually, leading to the possibility of time travel. Remember to subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine and all the democratic world. So what kind of time travel? As in all of these fake pro-Russian republics, time stops. And I do have a friend whose girlfriend comes from Transnistria. Of course, she left that land long ago, but when she visits her parents, she says, like, you travel back into the end of 80s before the collapse of the Soviet Union. Everything looks very destroyed, very Soviet. There are lots of monuments to Lenin and other communists. And of course, there are no businesses, no tourism, no investitions, anything, because who wants to do something in the illegal fake Russian Republic? And they totally depend on Russia. The only thing that works well there is a huge Soviet military base that has lots of equipment and weapons there. Perhaps one of the reasons why Russia needed Transnistria so much. Moldova did not manage to take control over this territory, and we all know how democratic world advises all of us not to escalate, and what we get, more and more territories annexed by Russia and more conflicts arising from corner to corner of this world. The best advice that you can give to a victim fighting against the bully: fight back. Bullies only understand fight and power, and typically they are cowards and quickly escape from the real fighter. So from time to time they shook this region, but at this moment perhaps they decided to escalate, and these fake deputies addressed Kremlin that they need protection from Moldova. What kind, like, what did Moldova do to them? Of course, nothing. And it is possible that they will open another front in Transnistria. Of course, the number of Russian military that are now located in the region in Transnistria is not dangerous for Ukraine. It is really small, but it is quite big for Moldova, which is small. And also in future, when they take over this territory united with Russia, we will have longer border with Russia, and that's definitely not what we want. And of course, this also gives them better access to Odessa and Vinnytsia. Odessa is like 20-30 kilometers from Transnistria. By the way, another thing that Russians always do, they spoil nature and potential of the region. Transnistria is close to Bessarabia, which is a beautiful, diverse, culturally diverse region. More than 90 various peoples live there, different languages, different cuisines, and it all is really close to Odessa, the Black Sea, lots of rivers, and it has a potential to be like heaven on earth, but when Russia comes there, it turns into hell. By the way, I haven't mentioned that previously, but many people who were not aggressively against the occupation of their territories, for example, in Georgia or even in Crimea, because there were lots of Russian descendants and Russian military there, after they see what Ruski Mir, Russian world, brings to these territories, they don't want it anymore. And it was, by the way, a very illustrative lesson to many regions that were neutral to Russia. And when in 2022 full-scale invasion started, they were fighting like crazy against invaders, because they could compare life in Ukrainian Donetsk and life in so-called Russian Donetsk, very temporarily occupied Donetsk. These are two very different cities. Ukrainian Donetsk was very vibrant, was one of the richest Ukrainian cities, with an airport, with the best soccer team and a huge stadium. It hosted Euro together with many Ukrainian and Polish cities. And it was a very promising business center. And now it's just like an absurd post-Soviet city that is very poor. There are no legitimate universities there. There is no normal access to medical care. And many people who remain on these occupied territories, they do everything to still receive access to Ukrainian medical health care. Now it's almost impossible because of hot war, but between 2014 and 2022, many of them actually traveled to free Ukrainian territories to get care they need. And we have to understand many people who remain there, they don't have an option, and they are waiting for Ukraine to come back. And it's actually very important for Ukrainians to stay on many of these territories and to help us later rebuild them and adapt them after these torturing periods. But to sum it all up, Transnistria is in danger right now, and the danger is real. I hope that Moldova, its pro-European government and its pro-European people will mobilize, because we all need that reaction. For Ukraine, it is also a challenge because we border Transnistria, and also because we don't want another Russian country on the border with Ukraine. And the world, the democratic world, has to see that no negotiations are possible and no frozen conflicts with Russia, because Russia does not use this time to negotiate and stop fighting, but simply to build up and to attack you from a weaker point. We don't need that. We need to finish modern Russian regime and Russian attitude. The sooner, the better. Finish, not postpone that. Thank you so much for your support and understanding. Remember to join me on Instagram. Also, I'm on Threads, Twitter, and Discord, and all the links that you need are below in the description of this video. And also, we have a beautiful merch shop with lots of items that work well as conversation starters and reminders about Ukraine. Because as this war continues, we need your support and we have to stop Russia because, as you see, it all expands and it gets more and more dangerous with each day. Thank you so much for your support, for your comments and advice. United we stand. Slava Ukraini!